Brothers, sisters, kings, queens, I'm getting right into it. Men don't cry. This is a deep topic and I'm shooting it in the dark, so this might not be the best visuals, but if you can listen to my voice and hear my cry, my plea, and why I do believe men don't cry. It's not a good thing, but I understand why as men we don't cry. And I'm speaking to you as a man, right? I know that I won't be a man in everyone's eyes, but I speak to you as a man, as someone who was born a male, and to kind of explain this reason. So naturally, I feel like as men, we don't resort to crying. And this is the big difference I've seen with men and females. It's like, naturally females, it's easier for them to cry. Whereas men, it's not. I just think we're not wired that way to cry, right? So I remember the day my dad died, like, because I was with my dad when he passed away, right? I was with him, and I remember he died, he passed on, and it was me, my mom, my dad. And my mom, she just resorted to crying, and I understood the reality, but there was no cry in me. Like, it's like to a certain point, you don't want to force yourself to fake it. But like, yeah, like I didn't cry. Like, yeah, that's just like the reality. Is like that day, maybe only on his funeral, like I kept holding it back, and that's where I cried. Like, I really let it out. And part of me, like, what's crazy is my second youngest niece. It's like something she remembers. She's so young. Firstly, she's 7 years old. But every time like we talk and the conversation goes to da da da, because that's what they call him, passing away. She's like, yo, I remember you cried. And to a certain extent, it's like, I felt like, why did I cry? Because I don't know, like, it's just something, it feels like weakness to me. It's like, even though I know it's not, like, but this is what it feels like. It feels like, damn, I was weak. But yeah, it's like, to kind of, expose more. When my sister's child had passed away, she had came back from the hospital, right? And this was a bad situation, to not speak more on it, but I couldn't, there was no cry in me, like, and I heard Myron Golden say something. He was like, when someone dies that you don't love, you don't cry for them. It's like you feel for the person. It's like, damn, but there's no cry in you. And not that I didn't love her child who passed away. It's just that tears didn't come to me. It's like, and my sister came back, she was crying. It was so sad, but like, there was no cry in me. Like, I couldn't cry for her, because I understand that was the right thing to do. This is what, in my mind, like, it was like so sad. It was a crying situation. But I couldn't cry, like, and this is why I feel like men are just wired differently, right? Our first thing is not to cry. Like, I was watching a video of Louis Baby. Yeah, one of a girl on YouTube, right, that I found, and I watched a couple of her videos. And Yeah, in this video she was crying because like tickets to an event had sold out, so she was crying. So, you know, like part of, like when I saw that, it's like part of me understands it, but part of me, like, that could never be me, because I don't know, it's like as men I feel like it's just not easy for us to cry. Like, honestly, I can't count all the times I've cried on my hand, like, but I remember when I was conscious of it, there's been a couple times I've cried. You know, like, also, like, I've heard girls say, yo, I cry. You know, like when you're crying every day. I'm just thinking, like, how is that even possible? Like for me, there's certain times I cry, like, and to speak more on these situations, right? The first time I cried was that I'm conscious of, right? That I'm conscious. I remember I had went to do my license, if I'm not wrong. And I had no, I had went to register. Like I wasn't writing my license that day, but I think I had went to register. Or I think it was the learner's test, which I failed a couple times, right? But that, let me just check. That necessarily didn't make me cry, but I remember I had waited at a certain point to take a taxi, and taxis weren't arriving. Then I thought, to, you know what, let me just walk, and it was far from home, like 3 hour walk or 2 hour walk, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just started walking. And that day I cried, man. Like, I'm not sure for the reason, but I just cried. And you know, like, what hardened me, like, it's like, I remember I was at this certain place, I cried. I had tissue. I went into the store. I bought tissue, you know. I was crying, wiping my eyes. Not in the store, but outside, right? Like, just people went by. It's like it was normal, right? There's a certain place I came. I stopped. I laid on the floor. No one came to help me. Like, it just, no, people went about their business. And for me, this was like, a part of me wanted that, oh, are you okay? What's wrong? You know, a part of me wanted that. I won't even lie. But since I didn't get it, it was like, man, it is what it is. There was one day my dad just treated me bad, you know, and I kind of get it. I don't hold it against him. But like, I came home and I just cried that day. Like, you know, I cried, and yeah, like, and I got over it. And it's like, from there, I don't think like I ever cried like regarding his ways towards me. Like, I won't sit here and talk like my dad abused me or anything, but like, he did anything to like kind of mistreat me, I never cried. Like, from that day on, like, I stopped crying for like anything to do with my dad, you feel me? Like, except for when he passed, you know. Yeah, you know, like, third reason, when he passed, on the day of the funeral, man, there's a song they kept singing, Yawa, Yawa Lembe, ooh, Yawa, Yawa Lembe. You know, like, if you know it, you know it, funeral song. And like, the reality of it, like, of that song, like, and you know, I just cried and I cried. And man, you know, that's like a day I remember. And fast forward, I think I just counted like 3-4 incidents. The day I got my first salary, and as I explained in my other video, like, for so long I felt like I was useless, like, because they were giving me pocket money. It didn't feel like I deserved it. You know, like, there was this dark cloud of thought hanging over me on some, I never worked before, I don't have skills, I don't have no college thing, and which I was fine with, but not just the reality, you don't make money. And yeah, like the day I received my salary, and shout out to my boss, man. He sent it early, like 5 o'clock, you feel me, in the morning. So I woke up to the text, salary, first salary. Man, like I cried that day, like something he'll never know unless he watches this video, but I cried like, oh. And this was like a cry of, I think also just a cry of worthiness, right? Like I was confirming that you are worthy, like. But yeah, God knows I cried, like. And yeah, there was another time, like, I was feeling so down. I had cried in the house, right? I cried, my eyes were red. I was just crying, like. And because us men, I'm a stereotype. Us men don't cry. And this is one thing I heard my brother said. Is like when he cried, like he just let it all out. So also with me, like since I cry such few times, right? I hardly cry. So when I had cried that day, I let it out. My eyes were red, and I remember because I was crying in the house, and I came across my mom, and like she just acted like she didn't see anything. Like, man, that broke me. I was like, and I won't lie. Part of me wanted that. Yo, what's wrong? But like, yeah, she didn't say anything. So it was like, man, I cried. Okay, but yeah, as men, like, I feel like to a certain extent, crying is weak. Like, and I'm saying this as a believer, right? I'm saying this as someone who knows God, and this is my true thoughts. I just want to let females in, or anyone who watches this video, if other men, you guys can relate. I just feel like crying is weak. This is how I feel, right? Like when I think about crying, like about a situation, or it just feels weak, like to me, like, and I don't know why I have these feelings, but this thought about it, because like I'm 100% for men crying. Like, there's been women now like who talk about, yeah, men should cry, men should express themselves, and I'm all for that, right? Because like I feel like we bottle a lot in as men, which is, I feel like we have to, right? But yeah, like I feel like why we bottle so much in, why we don't cry, is like I've confessed, how I was really feeling inside to certain people, like, oh, I'm feeling down, things are not working. But yeah, it's like I feel like they've always viewed me as there's a weakness to me. And this is like a slap in the face. It's like you don't want to be weak, right? There's just, as a man, as someone who's has masculine energy, there's a part of you that doesn't want to be weak. Like weakness is like an abomination. Like if someone considers you weak, it's like, nah, I'm not weak. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying this as I'm someone who is quite a friendly brother, right? Like I understand why brothers who are worldly walk around like with a hardened face, like, because there's this aspect of not wanting to be weak, right? It's just like the biggest disgrace. And like for the longest time, like, because I am the way I am, right? And I believe it has much to do with my name, Duduzi, which in English is not comfort, right? But it's sort of a translation to the word comfort. So I'm a comforter, right? I comfort people. So like I understand how my dad saw me. He didn't want me to be weak. And now that I'm at a level, because I feel like, I have the spirit of truth in me who reveals all truth. So I look at other brothers and I see the weakness in them. And I never look down upon them for it, but I understand what, in my own understanding, what my dad saw. He's like, he didn't want that weakness to be in me, like, I feel like it's also like being a man, like, I can talk for myself. It's like, I see the weakness in other brothers, and this is what you don't want for yourself. It's like, you don't mind that other brothers are weak, but you see how females treat them, or other brothers just look down upon them. Like, we all don't have that. But as a man, it's like it's not admired for you to be weak, you know what I'm saying? To be emotional. And this is what, like, this is where the not crying and bottling things in, because it's like you see the reality, like, you know what I'm saying? They want you to be a man. No matter how, you know, like no matter how they put it, they want you to be the strong man. And you are a strong man, but at the same time, you do have feelings. Hey man, it's the kids, but yeah, it's like, but also naturally men, like, my first thing is not to cry, right? To kind of, yeah, explain this more. Yeah, I just like how people perceive you when you do cry as a man. It makes you never want to cry again. But yeah, to add this, Siri, right? She's a girl where I stay, and she was on some, like, you know, I want my man to come cry to me, and I'll hold him, you know, I'll comfort him. Hello, Stumi. Okay, yeah. Okay, I'm coming now. Hey. But okay, yeah, so you kind of see why. Yeah, she's like, I want a man to cry, like, I want to hold him and comfort him. And when she said that, I was just like, are you crazy? Like, you think really your man's gonna come and cry in your arms? That was one of the thoughts I had, because I was looking at myself. I was like, if I were to ever date her. But I was just thinking, like, oh, in general, I was like, I don't think that's possible for me, like, to come cry in my wife's arms. Stume, I'm coming. Okay, I'm about to wrap this up, but like, it's like, I don't have this mindset. Like, not that I won't cry, not that I'm afraid of crying, but I just don't see myself coming and crying in my wife's arms, right? It's like a sign of weakness for me. And this is like how I think about it. And as I say, I'm in Christ, but like there's this certain wiring of my brain, or I think how God has made us, that I can't cry every day. Like, maybe I can due to circumstance, but like, it's not in me to cry every day. It's like, when I think back to the last time I cried, it was when I received my first salary, which was September 1st, or no, 30th of September, or 25th, if I'm not wrong, 25th of September, the last time I cried. And before that, like, it's been a minute, like, I just don't cry, like. And this is why, like, it's like, as men, I just feel like we are wired not to cry. But yeah, she was saying, like, yeah, she wanted her man to cry in her arms. I was just like, I don't think your fantasy will be fulfilled, right? Like, I just, as men, we're not like that, right? Another thing I want to say is, I just want to talk all about this topic while I still can. But yeah, as a man, it's kind of like weak to cry. Like, I don't, you know, and I don't look at another man as weak when he does cry, because I understand it, I'm a man. But like, as for me, like, nah, like, you won't find me coming to someone and crying on some. Depends on the circumstance, but hardly, like, I don't believe I'll come to you as a woman, or especially as a girl, like, yo, like, it's like ammo, you know, like, that's my mindset. It's like just me crying to you, oh, it's hard at home, it's like, damn, you embarrassed yourself. Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, yeah, as men, yeah, I wanted to talk about, I saw a short on, like, this couple, the woman was pregnant, right, with their second child, if I'm not wrong. And she was just so emotional, like, I didn't plan for this. And he was like, nah, it's all right, babe. Oh, like, what are you gonna do? Don't worry, don't worry. And part of me wants to date. I know I want to be married, but like, part of me knows that I'm not ready to handle it. Like, naturally, like, I'm a rock, right? As a man, you know, they say that it said women want a rock, and naturally I understand that I am a rock, right? I'll be able to be how that brother was, comforting. But to a certain extent, it's like, it's just hard to deal with an emotional woman, like a crier. And part of me doesn't want to be there, because that's what it gets to when you guys have feelings, you share intimate things. It's like, it's easy for women to cry, like for us it's not. So it's like, this is what gets a man, or in my opinion, let me say it like, this is what hurts you, because it's like, you know, like, you can mess up, then she'll start crying, and it's like, part of you doesn't want that. Like, you don't want to make a female cry, but part of you understands how hurt she is. Like, it's just like, tears are so much to deal with, especially as a man, like, because you also don't cry a lot or hardly cry. It's like, someone that's always emotional is like, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's not literally like an because you understand why they're crying. You really care for them. But at a certain point, it does get a bit much, you know. So this is what, I won't lie, is like what I think when I want to approach a woman. It's like, I know, because women are naturally emotional, like, and as men, we're not. Yeah, and I also have to say, it's like, there's many times I hold tears back. And I feel like I've been around brothers, right? And this is naturally what we do. It's like, it's so hard to cry, because I feel like as I said, we consider it as weak. So it's like, there's been times, man, like, I've heard emotional stories, and I won't lie, it brings me to tears. Like, not that I'll really cry, but like, you want to cry, like, you want to share the pain of someone, but like, you hold the tear, you fight them back, because it's like, I ain't gonna cry, man. Like, but this is how it is. It's like, yeah, this is how it is, like, honestly. And I speak as a man. Brothers, you can agree, or females, yeah, females, you can understand. But yeah, this is how it is, like, with crying. Like, man, I'm hardly crying, like. But this is also like the flip side. It gets so scary, because I was thinking, like, the way, honestly, like, the way I'm so unattached to my mom, it's gonna be sad, because I don't want her to pass on, right? And I don't react emotionally, like, I don't cry for her. Like, part of me does want to cry for her, but part of me knows in reality is like, I might just not cry. Like, so that's the hard, like, the scary part of it, because that's my mom, right? But like, at the, like, reality is like, as I'm saying, the way I'm so unattached might be that I won't cry, like, and I don't want that, like. And yeah, I also have to say, like, you teased on it. It's like, one of my homies, right? One of the brothers, he didn't cry, right? But we were watching a movie, and there was an emotional part, and I think they were just dissing him for it. Like, they say he dropped a tear, but the way, like, they had him, it's like, I don't think he'll ever show emotion again, like, around us. I don't think he'll cry. It just was like, it was a funny thing, you know, like, when they told us, yo, he dropped a tear. Like, it was like, what? He dropped a tear? Like, you know, that's what I'm saying. Is like, there's this thought process, like it's like you consider yourself weak when you cry. So that's why like you hardly catch me crying. Like it depends on the situation. Like I feel like intense pain will make you cry. Like if you had to fall from a building, I feel like you won't care who's around. You'll cry, right? But normally as men we don't cry, and I think it's inherent. Cause as I say, it's like I'm someone I feel like I'm not I don't practice toxic masculinity, right? I'm friendly, like people see kindness as a weakness. I don't mind being kind. But when it comes to crying, there's this part of me that won't just cry in public, like, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I feel like I've said it all. It's your boy Mduduzi. I'm out. Peace.